What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stock. Today, we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is up 11.02%, 1963 the low, $22.60 the high so far. So one thing that stands out about SoundHound today is the fact that as soon as the market did open, it went higher. Normally, 9 times out of 10 over the last 2 weeks, as soon as the market opens, it just tanks because shorts double down like tenfold. And then, of course, throughout the trading day, they kind of taper off. But that didn't happen today. So this exactly what the scenario you see playing out is when shorts are not really involved first thing. So again, especially with potentially a lot of entities just taking this whole week off after Christmas, it's a very interesting scenario. You still did have a dip, but that I think is just big money reacting to the broader market. At that time, a lot of stocks were red, pulling back, so I think some of that could be linked to that. But aside from that, though, no actual news associated to SoundHound. A lot more articles are picking up on SoundHound, just saying that it's due to go up significantly due to just various factors and whatever else. So I think a lot of the algorithmic trading is picking up on the bullish articles. One thing that did come out, regrettably, you did have the CEO sell 156,000 shares. That was done on the 24th. So you guys already know my stance on insiders. Just generally, you can kind of see they have always sold, never actually bought. So a lot of transaction code S's, meaning for not for tax purposes, it was a straight up sell. So the CEO selling, it is what it is. Probably just spent more than what they did during the holiday season, but market, like I said in the past, doesn't seem to care. SoundHound, I guess for all extensive purposes, is still considered very discounted to a lot of big money because big money is getting in like crazy. Like it is a absolute fire sale or something like that. So these are all the transactions that have occurred so far just in the first 1 hour of the trading day above $100,000. So big money is getting in. Everything that does show as a ask is a buy. So you are seeing a lot of buys getting in, a lot of big money really liking SoundHound. Shorts still are increasing, 687,000 shares, but you didn't see that ranging from like 8 to 15 million doubling down first thing. You didn't see that happen. So once again, this is why essentially it is kind of moving higher, but 26.67% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 87.59 million shares overall are being shorted. And I'm sure some of you might be wondering, how did the short interest change? Well, essentially that is because of this right here. So 2 times per month, the actual exchanges do disclose the true amount of shares being shorted. So on December the 24th, they did disclose that as of December the 13th, so it's a little bit delayed, but as of December the 13th, there was 76.23 million shares overall are being shorted, and that worked out to be 23.21%. So that's why it changed a little bit. And then what Ortex and a lot of other platforms do, they take that information and kind of calculate it up to present day. So 26.68% is still very, very high in my opinion, but based on the call options, there is, or the options in general, 18 million in calls, 3.04 in puts, 49% of all the options being done are optimistic in nature, and of the call options that are being purchased, you still do see a consensus for it to be above $25. So yeah, higher highs might be coming down the pipeline. Bears, though, they are anticipating for it to be sub roughly $20. So I still think that there's a lot more upside with SoundHound, and that's of course I think linked to the technicals, because a lot of what has happened with SoundHound is very speculative. Future potential deals with, let's say, Burger King, McDonald's, seems to be stuff happening out of the UK. So hopefully some official announcements, or better yet, with the upcoming CES in the first week of January, that could be a very, very good catalyst as well. So even though they're not presenting, they do have a booth. So potentially they could be doing something that could just spark some demand. But aside from that, though, right now with at $22.65. It is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So in the short term, 23.67 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, followed by 25.45. Flip side, $20.80, and then 17.93 is going to be the following support level. So SoundHound is kind of getting ready to really move higher. No new analyst ratings, but anticipate more to come. So I think it's just a matter of time before some copycats do follow Daniel Ives's ratings, or even just completely separate and brand new ones. But I think seeing 26 and 22 is definitely a move in the right direction as a consensus, because a lot of these other lower ones, $14.10 is that average, and that does represent a 37.17% ups or downside. So on the actual chart itself, nothing really negative to say. It is above the ALMA, all the key pivotal moving averages. You have stochastic RSI very oversold, so again, that's going to really stand to benefit in the next couple trading days. And then just even looking in the short term, it shows that's ready to move higher. So honestly, nothing really negative to say about SoundHound's technical. So I think it is just a matter of time before it does actually hit that $25 range, and then you might see higher highs. It'd really be good though if SoundHound did put out some credible piece of news, something that they might be working on or something like that, and then that would justify possibly a even further increase. Because when it comes down to SoundHound's earnings, which have been unannounced yet, but for their upcoming earnings, this is how you do see a lot of volatility. Because when Palantir was really moving up, and for those of you that have been watching some of my videos, I often refer to Palantir because Palantir is another innovative company that Wall Street just didn't really understand. So when Palantir did have their earnings, even though they did beat on a lot of their key metrics, it's still often enough sold off, because people started to say, hey, you know what, like, yeah, Palantir is doing good, but it doesn't justify this multiple. I think the same is going to happen with SoundHound when they do have their earnings. But if the company does put out some good news, at least it could justify, I guess some of the higher multiples. But let me know your viewpoint on SoundHound. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What are you doing with SoundHound? And based on the options, do you feel that $25 is realistic based on this, or do you think that it's due to pull back? So this is all the call options. You do at the same time see a good consensus for January 17th for it to be above, looks like $30. So higher highs are still a lot of optimism when it comes down to SoundHound. And in reality, if you are optimistic on SoundHound, then most definitely you can always buy calls and make some pretty good money based on all of that. So as well, don't forget my video yesterday. I did talk on some good catalysts in the first half of 2025. So make sure you pop over there and kind of watch that video. But aside from that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.